nobody can promise to give you beauty. Beauty is a genetic gift. It is only bestowed upon you through your mother.
Dr. Sofia Din, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It's my true pleasure. I believe we have so many things to talk about, and it's wonderful speaking with an expert like yourself. So I would love to hear what's the main thing you're excited for our listeners to learn today.
Well, as somebody who works in the realm of longevity and beauty and health, I like to recap every year at the end of the year for like all the things, all the great things that I thought happened, and some ideas of longevity that like really took hold. And so basically, I like to just do recaps of what I thought were some great thing events for 2025. So if that's something that's up your if that's of interest to you, then that's what we'll quickly dive in.
Amazing. Yes. And so, of course, as I mentioned in the intro, you are a professional when it comes to longevity, when it comes to healthy aging, aging well in general. And I mean, to start us off with, I would love to hear a little bit about your journey, your own personal professional journey, that got you to where you are today.
Well, that's long. So at my age, our journeys are quite, it's a long journey into health and wellness. And also, before you get to health and wellness, a lot of doctors, we train into sickness management. That's how the training is, where disease learning not just the human body, but how the body falls apart, how diseases happen and then take hold, and then how it's almost impossible sometimes to extricate a human body out of the several ailments that they may be facing. So I have trained in a British system of education in medicine. So I did bachelor's in medicine and bachelor's in surgery from my country of birth, which is Pakistan. And then I moved to United States, and then I had to retake everything. So I studied in a American health education, and I trained in New York. I am board certified in family medicine, and I did like a long stint of geriatrics, like around 6 or 7 years. I exclusively took care of aging population as the medical director of a nursing facility, and also I was their hospitalist in the hospital. So very acute care and subacute rehabilitation of aging bodies. That's where I had like a turnaround in my life, where out of desperation, where everybody, by the time they're hitting 65, 75, or 80, where their consciousness is completely ripe with wisdom and love and whatever they've learned, so much knowledge has accumulated in every single person, but their brains and their organs are individually failing them, and it's so hard to keep them together in that state, because all these things are very new. Healthcare has evolved very rapidly in the last 50 years, so humans are now living longer lifespans. So my journey from geriatrics, I had like this turnaround from just managing people's diseases and sicknesses. I basically trained myself into health and wellness management. And I thought that if I can find people younger, maybe I will help them not age and stop aging. In because I my theory was, and my hypothesis was, that aging itself is a disease, and it just leads to disintegration of systems. And because we're not promoting healthy aging, and we're not promoting proactive anti-aging, we are basically waiting for diseases to befall upon a person, and then it's so hard to remove them from the impact of those sicknesses. So that's my premise of my journey. And personal at a personal level, professionally, I was doing anti-aging and health and wellness and perimenopause and menopause. And in men, there is something called andropause, which afflicts them. And during this time, I was also, my side interest was learning beauty and how to perceive it within yourself, how to preserve it within yourself, and how to stay connected with versions of yourself where you work the best, where your brain is in a flow, where your body is in a state of health and joy. And that basically became my, uh, just perpetual fascination, I would say, where, once you get to that layer, you realize that beauty is just like the tip of the iceberg, and the berg is formed of habits of wellness and health. And that requires a lot of discourse with every patient, every client I met. And I realized that it's something that when you have to spend so much time in like helping people understand their health and wellness, and how to stay connected with that health. It took a lot of time, and I realized that why you routine doctors, it's so hard to give this much time, because sickness management, which is the healthcare system currently, one of the things I say is that healthcare system has nothing to do with health. It is basically it is like your health insurance is like your car insurance, where it just gets triggered when you develop a disease or a
Mhm.
discomfort. It does not, your oil changes or your maintenance is your own out of pocket expense. And that is something that once people get this understanding, that I'm like a car, and which you are, you're like a vessel, that's holding your consciousness through time, gravity, hormonal imbalance, and environmental issues. So I can keep going on and on, but that was my
No, that's
turnaround
wonderful. Thank you so
into
much
the
for
realm of
sharing that.
beauty and health and wellness.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of an insight into who you are as well. And yeah, let's dock onto exactly what you were talking about, preserving that favorite version of ourselves as we age. Because so often when I work with clients in the nutrition space, they say, I want to go back to 130 pounds that I was when I was 25. I felt so good. And then often I try to dig a little bit deeper of like, okay, why like that specific number? Is that number itself really important? And most of the time it comes out that that was just a wonderful time in their life where they were content all in all. But so we go through these various phases, and quite often we try to hold on to a particular version or part of ourselves. And of course, that's also connected to beauty. And I mean, in the theme of reviewing the past year, what worked, what didn't go so well, perhaps, maybe we can talk about, yeah, how we preserve that favorite version of ourselves, and what are some methods and strategies that people can employ when it comes to habits, lifestyle, but also practices such as, visiting a practitioner like yourself, perhaps.
Wow, that's like a very good, all-encompassing question. And let's break it apart. So first of all, the first thing that I would like to tell, and offer my the thing that I really found very interesting was that nobody can promise to give you beauty. Beauty is a genetic gift. It is only bestowed upon you through your mother. Only your mother, if she has it herself, she will give it to you. Or if she doesn't have it herself, she will take it from your dad's genetic code and give it to you. So you are the beauty, the perception, the version of yourself that you find beautiful, where you feel like great and stuff. It's probably a code that when it is manifesting, it gives your brain that signal, that the internal signal that yeah, you manifested that code that you were created for and you were there. So if any practitioner, first of all, how do you tell a practitioner is good or not, or does they know their thing or not? If they say I'm going to make you beautiful, please run away. Run away from them for as fast as you can, because nobody can make you beautiful. You have the code or you don't have the code. However, there are preservers of beauty. And yes, can we preserve it? For the first time in human history, now we have the tools that we can preserve you. Like if you start early on in time, we can preserve you with microdoses of some medications and devices that can come together and preserve your skin and preserve your different organs. However, if you've gone too far ahead with chronic skin failure that may have accumulated for you, then maybe surgically you might be able to, somebody might be able to reconnect you back to a version of self that you found beautiful. And there are so many amazing healers and doctors that are trained in various skills of preserving the organ that we come to know as our skin. Our skin is not just the largest organ of our body, but it is also the holder of our consciousness. Your skin, when you're like this one, this like little tiny embryo, your skin rises out of the outermost layer of that embryo, which is called the ectoderm. It divides, half of it becomes your brain, and the other half becomes your skin. That's why your brain cells and your skin cells are interconnected at a quantum entanglement level of physics, where when one fails, the other knows that you're failing.
Mhm.
So because it's represented, your skin, every part of your skin is represented in your brain, and your brain can tell different parts of your skin. So not only this is the largest organ, and for sure the public facing face of your this organ is prime real estate, because that is how you recognize you as self, and how others recognize you as you. So it holds identifying features. However, skin is beyond this, and that's where, because it's an organ, it needs nourishment. It's also the organ that is the farthest away from your gut.
Mhm.
So as you go through time, and as the skin, gets to a different phase of life, sometimes leaching the same ingredients and elements that the skin needs to keep itself young and fresh and healthy is sometimes not possible. So we do help, some medications help for your, this phase, some medication, but there are other ways also that now we routinely do for people, which are like intravenous supplementation of nutrients for and antioxidants for your skin and hair, where,
Right.
especially during pause, because you can, when your body is going through menopause. And that brings me, let's also dive into the pause, which is like very close to my heart, and that's something that I always like to um, teach girls your age who have nothing to do with the pause at this point. However, you need to know that when something like perimenopause or menopause or andropause happens, it is an all system pause. Even though people think of it as just the reproductive pause where your hormones start dwindling, and things are not things become a little shaky, and you suddenly start feeling glitches in your energy and in your brain function, in your body habits, where you can gain weight or you can just be super tired and stuff like that, and no amount of rest can bring you back to that older level of self. So, because menopause or perimenopause are just constant, are like the perimenopause means that your body pauses, and all the systems are like kind of like jolted out of their routine flow of things. But when you rest, when you replenish yourself, when you go for a vacation, when you go for a massage and stuff, and take a couple of days off of your routine hecticness of living, you will be able to go back onto the flow of things again. However, the complete pause is not only the pause of menstruation, which is like medically we say that you should stop having your periods for at least one full year, and then at that point we're going to label it as menopause, and then right the next day you will go into a postmenopausal state of existence. So when that pause is happening, one of the things that's also pausing is your gut biome. Your gut biome is just as jaded as you are. It is not going to open its doors and let inside elements that it does not recognize or can't identify. So sometimes when you may be taking a lot of pills and supplements and this orally, or taking a lot of, juices and this and that. However, if your gut biome does not recognize it, first of all, it's only working 3 or 4 hours a day. It's retired just like I am. It's not gonna it's not gonna talk to people if it doesn't recognize because remember, your gut biome is really cool. It actually is a protector of you from yourself. And they say that your gut biome has a mind of its own, right? So and sometimes you can get leaky gut, because if you destroy it with something, then you get sick because of that, because your gut biome is your protector from whatever you're feeding yourself. Because sometimes feeding is sometimes can be an addictive process, and people, especially during the holiday time, guess what, you're going to be feeding yourself wherever you go, and everybody ends up gaining a lot of weight and stuff. However, your gut biome, if it doesn't recognize the elements that it needs, it's not going to take it in. Especially after menopause, it's working much less. When you're younger, it's working full time. And plus, when you're younger, your skin is able to regenerate and resuscitate and recover from whatever you put it through, whether it's alcohol or sleepless nights or whatever, you know. And menopause also messes with your sleep. That is the time period where humans are restoring themselves the best. And what is the first thing that gets disrupted? And during menopause is women would say, I can't sleep. I wake up like 3 times, and then I cannot go back to sleep. Because my body is hurting or something. And then guess what? That cycle, every day you wake up and you're like, it's hurting more. It's not hurting less, because there is no breaking out of that thing. And then gut biome, of course, is not taking in. You can be feeding it things, but it's not going to take away all the goodness that you're going to add to it. And that happens after childbirth to women also, because guess what gets disrupted when you have childbirth? Because the problems of a child start after, motherhood starts after the child is born. So many mothers are not sleeping that well, and especially if you have multiple kids, one or the other is always, something is happening. So your sleep is getting disrupted, and that makes women, lack low in energy, and that's where they first have some symptoms of what they will experience later in life with the pause. So pauses can happen after childbirth too, and that's one of the ways but because when you're young, you can lift yourself out of the pause yourself. However, when you get older, that lifting sometimes is not possible just by routine do-it-yourself treatments that you have employed all your life. And at that point, sometimes I tell women that whether it's your skin or whether it's your hair or whatever is pausing, you may need medical grade treatments at that point, and then you must go and seek yourself a provider who is trained in these treatments. And I one of the things I'm very happy for this year, and when I don't know if we have enough time, but when we go into the list of things that I am very grateful for, because I always make a gratitude list at the end of
Okay.
every year, that what are the things in health, my field, my professional realm of existence that I'm grateful for this year. So one of the things that I'm really grateful for this year, it is actually, I think, number five, was the fact that longevity elements that bring about longevity in a human body took more, like people took more interest in that. And they want to find out. For example, you are asking me, in the prior years, I've been doing this for like 15 years now, because I retired 15 years ago to pursue this. And I can tell you that this is the first year where people were like, they were awakening to it. And I totally get it. I think a lot of it, this awakening to this new sense of being and understanding that, yes, I'm going to be in this system for such a long time, and I can't just wait until things go wrong to
That's
provide
right.
my provide assistance to myself. That has that people are awakening to it, and a lot more people are interested, and they are listening to not only people who are professionally practicing these things, but also they want to know more. And that's the
Yes.
thing, because the ability to discern between things that won't work and things that will work,
It's
and
very difficult. Yes.
is it's a skill, because remember, these are medications. I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about medical grade treatments.
Mm-hmm.
So
So maybe, yeah,
that's
that's no, that's lovely to hear. I love, first of all, that you're making a gratitude list, and I can highly encourage everybody listening to do the same thing. Also, even just in regards to your own body, like what aspects of my body am I grateful to and for? We are so easy to pick ourselves apart and say, like, oh, I wish I had less fat here and there, and oh, I wish my nose was smaller, and what not. But if we actually pause and think about, oh, thank you, feet, you carry me every single day, I'm so grateful to you. Or thank you to my arms, I was able to do a few push-ups in the gym, I haven't been able to do that before, like this kind of stuff. I think it really goes a long way, and every cell listens to what we think and say. And so writing that out, or even better, saying it out loud, has even more power. But yeah, I love that you just generally make this list. And yeah, again, listener, please pause, or maybe after you listen to this, make your own gratitude list for the five or however many things come to mind, things that you're grateful for. So I'd love to hear, as kind of a last question, because unfortunately we are short on time today, due to some technical difficulties, but I would love to hear the other four things or so that were on your list of gratitude.
Thank you. Yes. So, gratitude, I tell everyone that gratitude is a frequency in your brain, that you
Mhm.
bring yourself to that frequency of healing. It's a glitch in time. It will produce a glitch in time for yourself, because whatever you're grateful for is, your brain will recreate that reality for you again and again. And that's the entire concept of the power of manifestation. So I totally understand why I'm very happy that you like the idea of list, and you tell everybody that, because that's so important. And it's good to create these lists in a personal level, on a professional level, on a human body level. And
Mhm.
what for me, your body is my profession. So I like to create my own professional list. So in this year, in 2025, my top thing that I placed for myself, and I just gave this lecture just yesterday about my top thing, and I'm still like weighing it. But number one was the GLP-1 agonists. The use of GLP-1 agonists was recognized, which are sugar neutralizers and very important menopausal a tool, as well as postmenopausal tool, as well as longevity aids. And the dose, they're like kind of dose relevant, so that is something that our understanding deepened, that at a certain dose it creates longevity, at a certain other dose it creates sugar neutralizing, at another different dose it can help you with your addictions and pacify your cortisol and the inflammation that create in your system. And so the understanding deepening that was a very important thing that happened this year. The second thing that I was very grateful for was the fact that we took away the incorrect and very hysteria causing side effect black box warnings on hormones, and hormone replacement therapy for perimenopause and menopause finally got a review from FDA, and something that we had been this women going through this silent suffering of menopause. There is a turnaround that's happening, because not only a decade ago the menopausal proper treatment of it was halted, but a false sense of hysteria was created in women, where 10 years worth of women going through pause were left to chemical castration, lives that were like akin to chemical castration, and they were just dealt with so poorly. They went through depression, they went through so many multitudes of problems that follow menopause, and they were not treated correctly, just because somebody did not do the analysis of a very important women's health initiative correctly. So that got reversed. FDA removed the warnings labels out of the different HRT treatments. It's still part of the HRT, is still not covered by your insurance. So I tell still women that you got to go and find providers who will, if they don't know it yet and they have not learned these are small courses, and we're starting to train the providers now. So
Yeah.
insurance is going to create these probably new study things for doctors, so it's like a continuing medical education stuff. So I hope that changes the lives of women that are now of future, which are like you. When you guys go, we will have like a lot better understanding of how to so one of the things I like to say is unpause your pause. So
Yeah, I love
get
that.
unpaused, don't get stuck in the pause. Keep yourself in flow, and use your vessel for why it was created. And sometimes when you through menopause, when you eject yourself from the matrix of fertility, it doesn't mean that your purpose in life has ended. It means that you just have to align yourself with a different phase, because now
Yeah,
you're in a
I love
different
that.
phase of existing. And you don't know how many codes and how many messages your code carries, so you wanna at all times be
Cool.
aligned with that, and
No, that's
throughout your phases be aligned with that. So
I
that
think
was my
that's a
number
really,
two.
really, really great message. Yes, of course, I would love to hear the last two, but I do think we
Oh,
have
the
to,
time is complete. No,
unfortunately,
we'll do it
love
one
it
more
at
time
those
next
three.
time.
But I want to repeat them because they were so powerful. So first of all, GLP-1 is not a bad thing. It's not just for people with diabetes,
Yeah,
especially if it has to be used in the right doses with the
yeah.
right medical guidance. And if so, it can be used for many wonderful purposes. Another thing that you mentioned, and I couldn't agree more when it comes to hormone therapy. And thankfully, just like you said, thankfully, more of the word is getting out that Women's Health Initiative study was unfortunately very, very flawed, especially its interpretation, not just the execution,
Yes.
but also the interpretation. And then, yeah, just again, going back to that prior part that you said, in regards to just generally creating a gratitude list like this, but also, yeah, reviewing yourself on a regular basis, what you're grateful for. And I guess one thing we didn't get into so much, but you touched on briefly, was just nourishing from the inside out. So nourishing with good quality food, with hydration, so that we're creating that wonderful base for a healthy skin, for our gene interpretation or expression to shine to its best possible capabilities. And the last point that you made there is in post-menopause, or even throughout that menopause, that it's really just an opportunity to lean into a different expression of yourself or a different aspect of yourself. I think that that's so wonderful and really heartwarming. And I just want to say thank you so much, Dr. Sophia. I will, of course, make sure to link all your content, your handles, and the link to your website, to all the wonderful information that you're providing, so that people can go and check out more of your content. And maybe at some point I can have you back on for a full length session, where you can tell us more about all the wonderful things that
We
you
have
do.
to have a part two.
Exactly. Thank you, truly. It really
Take
was a
care.
pleasure speaking with you.
Absolutely. Take care.